We have some good news, just good news, which doesn't come as often as we'd hope. We will have to unfortunately include, as this is an American politics show, in this good news, a really upsetting part of it, which is that MAGA can't ever just celebrate when good things happen if those good things could at all be perceived to be helping Biden politically. And so even within MAGA spaces, they're already finding ways to be upset with this. And I'll show you Biden getting asked about Trump and just perfectly responding in a brutal way for Trump. And I'll also show you a video of Trump that is interesting to watch given the context that we have now. So what am I talking about? Well, CBS News reports after a historically complex months-long negotiation involving more than 6 countries and 24 prisoners, the Biden administration on Thursday announced it has secured the release of 3 American citizens from Russia, including Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, Marine veteran Paul Whelan, and Russian-American radio journalist Alsu Komarcheva, all of whom are expected to arrive on American soil by nightfall. So we're going to watch clips of a White House spokesperson choking up over this, really emotional, these families waiting to have their family members back, Biden making this announcement with the families by his side. But first, the most soundbiteable moment, I guess, is Biden getting asked about Trump, who says about everything, oh, well, I could have done that better. Instead of just celebrating, he always has to say, well, I could have done that without having to give anything in return.
What a chance this whole thing.
President Trump has said repeatedly that he could have gotten the hostages out without giving anything in exchange. What do you say to that? What do you say to President Trump now, former president?
Why didn't he do it when he was president?
Sir, what a chance.
And that's a mic drop right there. Because Paul Whelan, the Marine veteran, he has been held unjustly, wrongly in Russia, accused of espionage, as they do, since 2018. Trump was president until January 2021. So Trump is trying to say, and has been for some time, even if Biden is able to facilitate such a deal, it's not actually something you should celebrate because I could have done it without anything in return. Well, you didn't. You didn't. You were president and you didn't. At least as it pertains to Paul Whelan. So you can just hush up about that. And he does this about everything. It's so childish. But the 3 will return to the United States as a part of a 24-person prisoner swap, one of the largest since the end of the Cold War, among the U.S., Russia, Germany, and 3 other Western countries. The deal is a significant and hard-fought win for the Biden administration, which has secured the release of more than 60 hostages or wrongful detainees from around the world over the past 3 years. Obviously, that's very complicated with Russia, but the details of the deal were coordinated over more than half a year by multiple U.S. government agencies, including the White House, State Department, and Central Intelligence Agency. And it's just quite the victory, and we're so happy for the family members. Before getting to this Trump video relating to this, I do want to play Biden's announcement with the families by his side.
You got everybody? Well, good afternoon. And this is a very good afternoon. A very good afternoon. Today we're bringing home Paul, Evan, Alsu, Vladimir. 3 American citizens and 1 American green card holder. All 4 have been imprisoned unjustly in Russia. Paul for nearly 6 years, Vladimir since 2022, Evan since March of 2023, and Alsu since October of 2023. Russian authorities arrested them, convicted them in show trials, and sentenced them to long prison terms with absolutely no legitimate reason whatsoever, none. Paul, a former Marine, was in Russia for a wedding. Evan, a journalist with a Russian in Russia, was in Russia, signed by the Wall Street Journal. Alsu, also a journalist, was in Russia to see family. All 3 falsely accused of being spies. And Vladimir was a Russian citizen by birth and holds an American green card. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and was a pallbearer at my friend John McCain's funeral with me. He spoke out against Putin's regime, and for that he was convicted of treason. And now, their brutal ordeal is over.
And this is just absolutely, as you can imagine, fantastic news. Now, Midas Touch did do a started/going comparison of Trump, who posted this video, and comparing that to what Biden just announced.
Evan Gershkovich, the reporter for the Wall Street Journal who is being held by Russia, will be released almost immediately after the election, but definitely before I assume office. He will be home. He will be safe. Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, will do that for me, and I don't believe he'll do it for anyone else.
Today we're bringing home Paul, Evan, Alsu, Vladimir. 3 American.
You get the point. And already, I don't even want to get into it, but Trump's already questioning this a bunch on Truth Social, being the child that he is. And my request to MAGA is, this is not partisan, okay? Just be happy for people that this injustice is going to go on no longer, and that people will have their loved ones back. Just stop. Everything doesn't have to be politicized. Oh, Biden must... I saw one person say, oh, he must have been doing this at a specifically chosen time and didn't want to get the prisoners back until now because of political reasons. We've been hearing about the ongoing negotiations, trying from all these agencies, all these organizations to figure out something, and what they figured out was so complex, as I read to you, involving all these different prisoners from different countries being swapped in all different ways to get our American citizens back. Just let go for a moment of your hatred of our country right now, it seems, and just be happy for people, okay? If you're watching this and you're thinking, this guy's not bad, and you want to support the work that we do, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button. Easy, free, but makes a huge difference. Back to the video. Jake Sullivan, an NSA spokesman, if I'm not mistaken, did have this heartfelt moment.
His goal has always been to put the families first, the families who are enduring an unimaginable ordeal. From the president on down, we've stayed in regular and routine touch with them. I spent a lot of time with the families of Evan and Paul and Alsu. And most of the time, as you can imagine, those are tough conversations. But not today. Today, excuse me. Today was a very good day. And we're going to build on it, drawing inspiration and continued courage from it.
Really heavy moment. And to give you perspective, I don't even... So annoying what I'm about to play for you. JD Vance had to say this.
To be clear, my second question, today is clearly a day of celebration, but already there is some criticism, including from the Republican vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance, who moments ago said, I think what this demonstrates, I think that really what this shows is that a lot of bad guys across the world are worried that Donald Trump is coming back into office. Your response to those comments?
I don't follow.
Perfect response there from Jake Sullivan. J.D. Vance dares to say, as he serves his narcissistic boss, dares to say, oh, this is because Trump's about to come into office, and so they want to preemptively do things that will make him happy. Go away, JD. No one wants to hear from you right now, okay? That's your takeaway? That's your takeaway. They're just so worried that Trump's going to come into power and he's going to say, why didn't you do that before I got into power? And I'm mad at you, and you're so afraid of me because my orange makeup is just, it's so frightening. Or the months-long, years-long, in the case of many of these individuals, negotiations finally yielded a conclusion in a geopolitical environment that is far more complicated than your mind, JD, apparently can comprehend. Everything isn't Trump is so good. That's not all of the geopolitical analysis that exists in the world, okay? Everyone's scared Trump. Have a moment of humanity and stop with the nauseating bootlicking of Donald. And also, if that were true, wouldn't this have happened whenever it looked like Trump was more likely to win, as opposed to happening right as people are looking at the dynamic and saying, holy smokes, it looks like the momentum's shifting in Kamala Harris's direction? And this comes within the context, by the way, of them saying the stock market keeps breaking records because it's doing well in preparation for thinking Trump's going to win. Even when Trump's campaign gets really bad news, even as I mentioned, as things start to look better for Democrats, they don't readjust their calculus. At one point, Trump tried to say the good job growth was because of him. Huh? The economy collapsed on your watch. Granted, the pandemic, but you mishandled it. And then roared back under Biden's watch. How do you get credit for any of that? I don't understand. You took credit. Now I'm just going on a random rant. I apologize. You took credit for an economy that, by all the metrics, was mostly built and recovered under the Obama administration, and then kept eking its way slightly slower, actually, by most metrics, than was predicted. So you didn't even continue the trajectory that the economy was on. But okay, so it slightly made a little progress, and you took credit for everything that had just been gained. But then you tried to take credit for something when you left Biden nothing. Oh, it's so annoying. And then same thing here. Oh, the prisoners were released because they're scared Trump's going to come back. Hey, get a framework that isn't as simple as Trump good, okay? I think you'll notice there's a lot to this world that's more than just that analysis. As shown by my analysis, except for, obviously in this political segment, we're talking about the political angles, but in a normal environment, yeah, I think the Biden administration generally should get some credit. Biden apparently was involved, but there's a bunch of people around the world apparently who have been involved in this. It's not all just a Biden victory, because the goal shouldn't just be to further your partisan goals no matter what the situation is. That went longer than I expected, but good news. I'm really happy for the families of these individuals. A long time coming. Horrible they ever had to be held wrongly in Russia, but so happy that they'll be home tonight. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments. If you want to get extra content daily, you can do so by clicking the join button below.